Have you noticed that January can become one of those months that changes the course of an entire season? Well, at Everton, things are moving behind the scenes like they haven't in years. There's a possible rare mid-season signing, a battle for a striker, a player who seemed untouchable, who could bring in a fortune, and all this at a time when David Moyes needs to act with surgical precision. But is there any big news coming? And what does this mean for the team that makes Hill Dickinson a cauldron? Stay with me until the end to understand why this January promises to be different from everything you're used to seeing at Everton. Before the first news item, leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything that's coming. Everton may be about to do something that almost no Premier League club dares: spend heavily mid-season. The name in question? Santiago Castro, Bologna's striker, valued at just over 30 million. A hefty sum for January and one that rarely appears in the league, but the blue context has changed considerably. Since the Friedkin Group took over, the club has experienced its most stable financial period in years. The move to Hill Dickinson has paid off in terms of atmosphere and commercial strength, and for the first time in a long time, real doors have opened for immediate reinforcements. The big question is, will this financial confidence sustain such a rare move? And more. Castro has been compared to a young Carlos Tevez. Is that exactly the kind of personality that Everton's attack lacks? On the other hand, financial expert Dan Plumley has issued a warning. Even with this new phase, investing heavily in January remains a risk, and Everton knows this better than anyone. The fact is that Castro emerges as an almost unique opportunity in the market. But will the club make a move in a window where signings of this magnitude practically don't happen? And there's a point that no one can ignore. While some clubs hesitate to make changes to their squad mid-season, Everton sees a rare opportunity to accelerate its own project. Is the club about to surprise the league? Could this move trigger a domino effect within the squad? And most importantly, is Castro really the name that can change the course of the Blues' attack? Everything indicates that the answers will start to emerge very soon, moving from a possible reinforcement to one that seemed to be on track but took a different turn. Joshua Zirkzee. The striker started against Everton in the 1-0 victory at Old Trafford. In that match, where the team played for 77 minutes with one player less, held everything at the back, and still managed a victory that had the perfect taste of revenge for Moyes. But even playing the full 90 minutes, Zirkzee left the match closer to leaving United than to securing his place. He was a name that interested the Friedkin Group and could have ended up in Merseyside, until the twist came. According to the Italian press, Zirkzee has already agreed to join Roma on loan with an option to buy. And then comes the question every fan asks. If the Friedkin Group controls Everton and Roma, why not make things easier for Merseyside? The answer is simple. Since taking over Everton, they've practically created no links between the two clubs. No player swaps, no double trade routes, none of that kind of exchange we see in other multinational groups. And that's likely to continue. With Zirkzee increasingly out of reach, what is Everton preparing behind the scenes? Will Castro become the top priority, or is there already another name lined up away from the spotlight? And there's another point that's gaining traction. The way Moyes has been observing the market since he arrived. He knows he needs someone who can step in immediately, who puts pressure on Beto and Barry, and who offers a new dynamic to the attack. And if Zirkzee is out of reach, is Everton preparing an even bolder move? Or is the club hiding a target no one imagined? The coming weeks promise to reveal much more than just a choice for a center forward. And to finish, closing with a topic that directly affects the team's backbone, James Garner. A regular starter, a favorite of Moyes, and fundamental in practically every game this season, Garner is at his peak. And that's precisely why he attracted Aston Villa's attention. Everton is working to renew his contract, but there's a sensitive point. According to Brian King, if an offer arrives in the region of 40 million, the club might stop to listen. And then you think, can Everton really afford to lose a player of this level in the middle of a project under construction? The doubt is valid. Garner creates, scores, organizes, solves problems, and interprets what Moyes asks with precision. And when the coach himself says that James is among the best in the country, it shows how indispensable he has become. The question is, how far is Everton willing to go to keep a player who has become a key piece in the team's evolution? So, fans, January promises big decisions. Castro may be the rare exception in the market, Xerxes already seems off the radar, and Garner becomes one of those chapters that nobody wants to see end badly. Now I ask you, which of these three moves do you think will most affect the future of Everton? Comment below, leave a like to support us, and subscribe, because there's much more hot news coming from our Blue Nation.